Hello, hello, lovely people. If you can hear my voice, that means you're listening to the Vintage House Show Spotlight. I'm your host, DJ Momami, tuning in from WNUR 89.3 FM and HD1 Evanston, Chicago. Welcome to the Vintage House Show Spotlight. Just me tonight, holding it down, talking to y'all, talking to everybody and nobody all at once. We're here to talk about all things house music. Today, I want to talk about a little bit of everything related to music. As a DJ, I am very passionate about making sure I keep my palette, my Serato, my record box very diverse. The very first shout out I wanted to give was to Sen Morimoto, who just dropped an album, Diagnosis. Sen is a very dear friend of mine, and so I wanted to encourage everyone to check out his album. It's very experimental, jazzy, lots of rock elements, hip hop elements, jazz elements, a little bit of everything from his wonderful genius mind. Diagnosis just dropped, I believe it was last Friday. And so it's still, fresh off the press. If I was at 606 Records actually last week and saw him on the wall. So if you want a physical copy, check out your local record store. Um, if not, check him out on Spotify, Bandcamp, etc. So that's what I've been listening to a lot of this past week. I also wanted to highlight some things coming up this month, house music related. First, we have My Party, Fever Dream, this Saturday, which is a global rave experience, completely free, 21 and up, open to the public that is down to get down, be respectful, ask for consent on the dance floor, etc., etc. That's on Saturday at the Giant Penny Whistle, right in Pilsen. We also have Navy Piers. I believe it's the second annual house giving. My friend Miguel has been killing it with the programming at Navy Pier. So if you're wondering why all these really cool pop-up concerts, events have been happening at Navy Pier, shout out to Miguel for keeping the culture alive. They're doing their house giving again this year, which is on Black Wednesday, so right before Thanksgiving. So I know y'all got the day off. Go check them out at Navy Pier. I saw uh, another DJ colleague, Blestonio, is DJing in that, and I had the honor of DJing with Blestonio over the summer at Angel's Block Party event. It was so much fun. Blestonio knows how to throw down and really keep the crowd going and take folks through a sonic experience. So be sure to check out House Giving. What else did I see that we have going on in November that's house music related? It's interesting how as summer winds down and we're fully transitioning into fall and winter, the free outside house music things take a little hiatus. I am definitely going to miss the Thursdays at the pier, which I didn't make it to any of them this summer because I was always busy on a Thursday. And so I'm so salty that I'm not going to get my beachside house music experience, at least in Chicago. Perhaps I got to travel somewhere, go to the global south to get my beachside house music experience. But there's the house giving. I do see that at Cerise on Sundays, I believe they do some. I want to say it's called. I don't remember the name, but I do remember seeing some local cats DJing at Cerise on Sundays for a house music specific event. If you know what I'm talking about, drop it in the chat so we can boost that. I also know Janesita, who has I don't think Janesita has been on the show, but I'd love to get her in the mix. Janesita is a really great, not just house DJ, but I consider her kind of like the juke queen of Chicago right now. And she's doing an event tomorrow at Emporium. Follow her at La Janesita, LaJanesita, if you want to know more about her event tomorrow. It's at Emporium in Wicker Park. If you RSVP, you get some free tokens to play and listen to some great upbeat housey tunes. Um, As far as more music I've been listening to, I got this Boo Williams vinyl that I have not been able to stop listening to. He dropped this Depths of Life album earlier this month. Um, Not this month, earlier this year. And I've been playing it as much as I can. I'm gonna play some Boo Williams in my set later. Not sure if it's gonna be from the album, but I've been in a Boo Williams bag lately, and it's so much fun to explore the vastness of house music and how this is a genre you can listen to your whole life, and it feels like I never run out of artists to discover, old and new. And so that's always fun and refreshing. If you're listening, call in, tweet me, text me, beat me, let me know who have you been listening to, house music related or not. What music has been getting you through the dark, gloomy transition into winter. We just had daylight saving, so you know it's dark at 4 p.m. So, which music has been helping you get through this change, this transition? Lots of Boo Williams for me. You know, house music is all year round for me. I know the the vibes kind of get a little more mellow when the wintertime hits, and like I was saying, we don't see as many house music events, but house music is all year round. Okay, for me. So that's what that's what I've been vibing to. The last thing I wanted to touch on before I get into my set is talking about, let's see. We're gonna do a hot topic. We're gonna do a hot take. Something that I saw recently. Where are the house clubs? Who is spinning where? Yes, that's what I would like to know. Thanks for that comment. Where are the house clubs? I know that we have some house events, like Tribe does their Thursday nights at Penny Whistle, house music every Thursday. There's also Arbeya with Quicktastic. Control Zora is DJing tomorrow as a guest. I've spun there as well, and it's always fun. Great vibes at Arbeya, Arbeya, kind of River North area. Um, Penny Whistle also, you know, that's where I host Fever Dream every second Saturday. So I think it's more so following the house heads, the house DJs. Where are they at? I would love in my lifetime to see kind of fully dedicated house clubs. I guess we could argue Smart Bar is that, but the reason I don't really include Smart Bar is because like Smart Bar is a given. You know, I'd love to see something new, a little more underground emerge in my lifetime. So if that's something you're also trying to see or you're trying to help out with, hit me up. You can reach me at MOMAMI Music, Momami Music on Instagram and Twitter, and let me know where you partying to hear house music. But you know, some news came out the other day that I saw about a really, someone, a really heavy hitter, someone really admired in the community, especially in Detroit. There was an incident that happened with Omar S. So if you're familiar with who that is, let me know. But Omar S is, house, ghetto house cat out of Detroit. And there was an incident of violence between him and another DJ, young woman DJ. And it's just really interesting and also unfortunate to see when violence against women happens in the community, especially between kind of older DJs, younger DJs, and the discrepancies there. I was really disheartened when I read that, and I think that's why I'm bringing it up, because I want to hold space for the community to talk about this and figure out what we can do to, one, protect women, protect Black women DJs, to protect them and uplift their voices and their stories and their experiences in the industry, especially coming out of a place like Detroit that is, especially in the house techno scene, very Black centered and Black empowered. I was really shocked to read some of this stuff. And it led me to an article that sort of talked about the discrepancies a lot of women and femmes in the Detroit house and tech scene feel in relation to specifically older male DJs. And so I'd really like to open the conversation. And this can be an ongoing conversation. This can be a digital conversation. This can be something we chat about in the DMs. But I really want to figure out what we can do, what types of events or agreements or perhaps list of demands younger DJs want to see in order to maintain safe and empowering spaces. I think that, yeah, thank you for acknowledging that and encouraging me to talk about this. Um, I am someone who really values the relationship between intergenerational DJs, between our founders, our creators, and between the new people emerging and some of the newness we see in the scene. And I'm big on restorative justice. And so if the harm has already been caused, what can we do to mediate that and ensure harm is reduced, harm is eradicated in these scenes? Working in nightlife, it does get a little tricky. As a DJ, I can attest that when there's alcohol involved, when there's lack of sleep involved, when there's other substances, other things people are bringing to the table, when there's ego involved, it creates a very mixy space and energy where harm and violence can breed. And so I want to know, what are some of your thoughts, ideas? How can we brainstorm ways to keep the younger generation of femme, Black, BIPOC DJs, queer DJs? How can we ensure, one, safe spaces, but also two, that there were, because I think I'm a part of that bigger, community as well. How can we ensure for us that our voices are heard, our voices are celebrated, and that we're reaching an older generation that maybe has a different way of handling things, or a different way of viewing things, a different way of viewing our role in this emerging industry, especially from creators, especially from someone, like I said, it was just so jarring to read about Omar S, because he is someone that is so, you know, important to the scene. And so to read and hear about that was so disheartening and disappointing. And um yes, so it's someone said, this is a question about workplace culture. Unfortunately, the culture is often defined in this case by promoters and venue owners. And yeah, I'm glad you brought that as far as workplace culture, because when we talk about workplace culture, often it's thought about, there's an HR department, and we're working in cubicles, and this workplace exists in the confines of four walls. But when you're a DJ and when you work in nightlife, whether you're a go-go dancer or a bartender, or where you're working the door, you're bar backing, it gets a little tricky to define workplace culture, because someone like me, I'm working at 5 different venues a weekend. I'm working with many different people any given month. And so in speaking of harm and violence like this, it is my workplace if something like this were to happen to me or my coworker. But workplace also feels so abstract in this instance, because it's not just one place we're going to repeatedly. It's more of a culture of the work we're doing. And so I've thought a lot about, being from Chicago, labor rights and all of that is very important to me. We are a union city. And so I've really contemplated some type of union or coalition for nightlife workers in different sectors, and figuring out how we can ensure there's fairness and harm reduction, and these things are being talked about. Actually, there is my good friend Harlem Knight, is her burlesque name, is putting together a town hall on Sunday. Let me pull it up on my Instagram right now, because it is to kind of open the discussion around some of the things nightlife workers face through promoters, through venue owners, through a lot of things that kind of happen behind the scenes and only in the emails that we kind of either deal with or work through. And it's a little bit brushed to the side because many different things, right? It can be hard to feel like it's just one person versus an industry. And so Harlem Night. You can follow her at Ms. Harlem Night, MISSHARLEMNYTE. Miss Harlem Night has graciously put together a Chicago nightlife town hall. Session one. This is kind of the first time her and other people are putting together something like this. It'll be on Sunday, November 12th, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Raven Room, 4702 North Ravenswood Avenue, Suite B. That's hosted by Harlem Night. And so thank you, Mega, for the affirmation. If this is something you're interested in learning more about or attending, I highly, highly suggest you follow Harlem Night and make it to the event if you can. I think this impacts all of us, whether you're a party goer, party promoter, a party curator. I am big on creating safe spaces because to me, the dance floor is a place of healing. It's a place of community. It's a place of congregation. It's a place where even for a second, we're not strangers. And with that comes responsibility. And in my role as a DJ and an event curator, as someone who throws parties, I'm responsible for every single person who walks through that door, whether I know them or not. And that's how I see it. And so that's why I'm having this conversation because I want to make sure whether it's a DJ, a security guard, a bartender, someone just turning 21, someone who's been partying for 30 years, I think it's imperative that there's a code of respect and conduct. And so, yeah, I want to kind of leave it at that. And it says the upcoming Global Mix Conference will also tackle aspects of this topic this weekend at the Midway Marriott. Okay. So thank you. I'm glad to hear that there is conversations like this happening and that we are making strides to have these open conversations. You know, it is uncomfortable to talk about these things. It is a little, there's feelings involved. I totally get it. It can feel so big to talk about these topics. And so that's why I'm starting here between me and you and me and whoever's listening and watching to at least get your mind thinking about that. And this is not a conversation that can be handled in just one day and one night in one week. Even I think it's something that will always evolve as definitions of safety and joy and harm and violence change. So should we always keep this conversation alive? And so I appreciate those who have been affirming in the comments about this. I was a little nervous talking about this, to be honest. When I brought it up initially, I was kind of like, oh man, I hope this doesn't like damper the mood. But hey, sometimes you gotta keep it real. Things aren't always pretty rainbow sunshine. Sometimes we have to call things out as they are and leave space for that. So, with that, I'm going to jump into my mix. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it to my rant thus far, once again, I am your host, DJ Momami. If you want to keep the conversation going, if you want to hear about some of those events I listed, whether things coming up this month or this weekend, or some of those town hall, community centered events, hit me up in the DMs on Twitter or Instagram at Momami Music, MOMAMI Momami Music. And yeah, I'm about to get into this mix, get into some Boo Williams. Like I said, I got some Peggy Goo. I got a little bit of everything. I don't really know what direction I'm going to go in. I know what direction I'm going to start. I don't know where I'm going to end. So thank you for joining me on this journey on this fine Wednesday night. So let's get into it. Okay.
ласковых уков, обгоревших на танцполь, в этих ласковых уков, обгоревших на танцполь, в этих ласковых уков, обгоревших на танцполь, 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 целовались небеса, тают в лесах, целовались небеса, тают в лесах, целовались небеса, тают в лесах, целовались небеса. Устала я, устала я, устала я, устала я.
Labona ngakuchelela ngoma ya so. Ni ulava we munhu hinkwako munhu na munhu hinkwako la. Andwini la aba mavoko. Kana ni mavoko, shamba mavoko. Andwini la aba mavoko. Kana ni mavoko. Kana ni mavoko. Mula na wena la ndwini man. Kana labona ngakuchelela ngoma ya so. Ni ulava we munhu hinkwako munhu na munhu hinkwako la. Kana ni mavoko. 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 Mula na wena la ndwini man. Alhamdulillah, ababa bo. Alhamdulillah, ababa bo. Kana ni mavoko. Kana ni mavoko. Mula na wena la ndwini man. Kana ni mavoko. Kana ni mavoko. Kana ni mavoko. Lokuchika la ngoma ya so. Awuthabi hansi. Ubama mavoko nje. Kana ni mavoko. 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 Ngibula na wena la taxi. Na wena la dingwini. 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 Kana ni mavoko. 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 China mi loko china na ngoma ya so. Awutshami hansi. Ubama mavoko nje. Labona ngakuchina na ngoma ya so. Ngilava we munhu hinkwako munhu na munhu hinkwako la. Kana ni mavoko. 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 Kana ni mavoko.
Apaga la luz y vete para allá. Apaga la luz y déjame en paz. Apaga la luz que quiero rezar. La cosa está mal y quiero gritar. Apaga la luz. Right in here. Apaga la luz. Apaga la luz. Y la bendición. Señor te bendiga. Aquí en mi rincón. Así es la vida. Así son las cosas. Pero no me importa. Vamos a estar bien. Yo voy Tonite, ¿qué haces eso? Apaga la luz.
Thanks for listening to the Vintage House Show podcast. Please subscribe and share, and check us out live, WNUR 89.3 FM, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock.